What's up, Gear Mortals? Trey Xavier here. On today's edition of Gear God's Quality Control, we're going to be taking a look at the AD30 twin channel amp head from Orange Amps. So as you can probably tell from the guitar that I'm holding, this is not really a particularly metal amp, so I'm trying to offset it by wearing the most metal shirt I have, which is this Creeping Flesh, old school death metal style shirt. So hopefully I maintain at least a little bit of my metal cred even though I'm playing a telly. The AD30 is a 30 watt all tube amplifier. It has 4 EL34s in the power section, 412 AX7s in the preamp stage, and a GZ34 tube as a tube rectifier. It looks basically like any other Orange amp, most of which can at least do some kind of metal. This one, I would say, stops just short of anything other than sort of lower gain, sort of classic, maybe doom metal-ish, stoner rock, a little bit of pop punk. So what's unique about this amp is that it's got 2 completely independent channels, each of which has the 3-band tone stack EQ. as opposed to a lot of orange amps that will have 2 channels, but one of them is like the high gain channel and the other one is the clean channel. The clean channel usually just has like 1 EQ knob. This one has the full 3 knobs, middle, treble, and bass. Oh, and they're labeled this time around rather than just having the graphic because I read English words, and that helps me. Because when I see the pictures, I get confused. Also differing from some of the other orange tube amps that I have reviewed, instead of the natural channel, which is the clean channel where they just have the least amount of circuitry in between your guitar and the speaker, this is just 2, I would say, pretty similar channels. They are a little bit different. One of them has slightly less gain, just a slightly different flavor to it. They're pretty close, and each one of them can do very clean to pretty dirty. Neither one of them goes full balls out, high gain brutality, but it'll go from jazz to rock pretty easily, and everything in between, of course. For example, I'm gonna set both of these channels on about 2, and then I'm gonna switch between them, and you'll be able to hear that they're both pretty clean. Check it out. So that one's got just a touch more. We're kind of starting to get a little bit of crunch out of it, but still pretty clean. So channel 2 obviously is the gainier of the 2. Now check this out. If we crank them both all the way up, you can just hear from the pure fuzz, the buzzing, that it's got a little bit more juice on channel 2. By the way, I'm using a Fender Telecaster with the Fishman Greg Cox set in it on whichever one's the hotter of the 2 modes. I'm not really sure. This has a completely rosewood neck. My friend and bandmate Rami Khalaf loaned this to me, and it is quite breathtaking. Thank you for that. So, 2 different channels, slightly different in terms of tone and amount of gain, but the real advantage here is going to be the flexibility of having 2 channels that you can set to completely different EQs and different amounts of gain, so that when you're on stage, you can foot switch between the 2 of them. That's not really something that I've seen in any other orange amps. There's probably another one that I'm not thinking of, but usually all you have is this super, super clean channel and then your dirty channel. This one has 2 that run a larger gamut from clean to dirty, but neither of them gets quite as dirty. So keep that in mind if you're looking at the AD30. If you boost the crap out of it, you can make it metal. You have to have a pretty good overdrive pedal or something like that. It'll do it if you push it, but without some sort of a boost or an overdrive out front, it's just not really gonna hit that much gain. Just for shits and giggles, let's stick the Aris Effects Savage Drive in front of it and see if it'll metal, shall we? All right, here's what it sounds like with the gain on the amp all the way up on channel 2, which is the higher gain of the 2. It's all right, but let's try it with a little boost. Respectable. So the AD30 is, of course, a vintage voiced and styled amp with a little bit of an update in the form of 2 channels with foot switch accessibility. However, Orange isn't really reinventing the wheel here. They haven't really done anything new, just made the sounds on the amp a little more accessible and flexible. Really, there are lots of amps out there that have 2 independent channels with their own EQ. They're not doing anything new, but if you like the orange sound and you want a real vintage sounding orange with more flexibility, then the AD30 is probably going to be the jam for you. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you haven't already, mash that subscribe button, smack the bell, and drop us a like for more reviews and original content. And I'll see you real soon.